Hey guys, Films by JRP here. We are back for episode 2 of Live at Home with JRP. And today, we will be interviewing star actor Rebekah Russell. I'm sure she's going to have a lot to say on everything that's going on. Let's get her in right now. Just a few moments, as soon as the connection starts. It'll be very great to have this conversation with Rebekah, as I'm sure she'll have a lot to say about the situation that we're in, as well as the movies that she's in. Are we live? Yes, we are. Hey, Rebekah, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How about you?
Oh, just getting on. Oh, just 1 second. Yeah, I just reading my questions here. Oh, yeah. So, just so guys for those who don't know, Rebekah has a couple YouTube channels, Becca Beats, as well as being in a ton of movies here at JRP. So, Becca, do you want to tell us about Becca Beats? Do you want to tell us about some of the movies you're in, just real quick?
Yeah, sure. Becca Beats, unfortunately, I haven't really touched on in a while. I've been really busy, but I have some cover songs on there. I'm a musician and a singer, so well, that's twofold because your voice is an instrument, so don't let people tell you differently. So I did a lot of cover songs on there. I didn't put any original material just because of copyright reasons, so I didn't do that, but I'm hoping to touch on that a little bit more sometime in the future. And then I've been in Jonathan's movies for quite a bit, I think since I was 11. Starting with the No Shirt Guys, the Sherlock Holmes 1, right? That was the first movie.
Yeah, not too many people have seen that one recently.
Yeah, that's a really old one. It's gotten a little bit better since then. We've done a lot of different movies, and like The Now Show was one of my favorites, and then of course Paradox, the Paradox trilogy. I wasn't in the first one, but I was in the last two, so that was really cool.
There's a lot that we kind of just lock into the vault and never see again.
That's probably
what?
That was probably one of them that we didn't show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, only the closest people, but yeah. And so another thing that Rebekah has really been doing, keeping her time, and whenever she's not making a movie here at JRP, has been theater. And where have you been? What have you been doing with theater? At least until up to the virus.
Oh yeah, theater's been great. I'm a part of a private theater company in Long Beach called Masker Theater Company, and we put on original productions. Sometimes we do productions written by other people, but one of our most recent works, we did an original one-act play series where the 4 acts were written by our cast members and one by our director. That was really fun. I was in 2 of those, 3 of those actually. So that was a lot of fun. We do a lot of musicals too. Right now we were working on an Easter musical called Refresh Revive, and that one is just the 14-song worship set list, and we have it all interpreted, so it is a deaf musical. And I'm working on getting all those translated and teaching the cast the sign language, so that's been a lot of fun, and hoping that we can get back to rehearsals soon.
Probably a lot of people don't really know too much about how sign language works, and when you say translate a music, what exactly does that entail?
Translating the songs, so ASL is its own, ASL is American Sign Language. It's its own language, so it has its own syntax and grammar. So it's like really translating anything from like Spanish to English or French to Chinese. That's what basically I mean when I say translating. So I have to translate the English lyrics to the song into American Sign Language lyrics, which is a very, very different form of speaking, so that takes a bit of work, and then after that people have to learn those signs, and then they have to act. Hey Nick. And then they have to actually perform that, and a lot of sign language has a lot of facial emotions because they can't hear intonation, so and then it's kind of twofold, because when you're performing in front of a deaf and a hearing audience, then you have a little wiggle room on the ASL because you have hearing people there, so you want to actually have signs that they can kind of understand, and it's more visual for them too. So it's kind of an interesting, tricky thing.
Yeah, I can imagine, or I mean, I really can't imagine. I'm not sure anyone really fully understands unless they're doing it themselves. But obviously, the latest play was canceled because of the virus, as well as pretty much everything was canceled. VidCon was canceled. I mean, pretty much everything's canceled. So, how have you been getting on dealing with the virus? Keeping busy and just getting everything you need.
Oh, that's been interesting. I think the worst part for me personally is that all gyms are closed. So I've been trying to find a way to exercise around here. So that's not been fun. But thankfully we're stocked up on much needed supplies now. So that's a blessing. But then we have to stay productive here at home, but also not be too hard on yourself. So it's a constant balance.
People keep telling me how bored they are finishing out their Netflix lists. I personally don't understand that, as you well know, because, just recently, we got all the supplies we needed, but that was very recent, and now we still have, a bunch of things that we've been needing to do at home that we really should have been doing earlier, and so now it's good to be finally getting those things done. Certainly not really relaxing anymore. I mean, we relax in the evening and whatnot, but not any additional time, so, but then, so let's pivot right now, bring it back to a lighter topic of, let's go back to some of the movies that you were in. Do you remember, well, actually, as you just mentioned, the No Shirt Guys, I don't think our viewers really truly remembered the production or lack thereof back then. Like, do you remember how we did improvisation, and anything funny you can remember about what happened when we did improvisation?
Yeah, I mean, the whole movie would be funny. We sometimes not intentionally, most of the time not intentionally, but it would come out funny because we didn't have a script. So you'd basically give me a broad idea of what we're going to be filming and the general characterizations, and then just roll it and see what happens. And a lot of times I would kind of go crazy and just kind of do my own thing, and then you fill it back into what you had in your head. So that's the thing about improv, you never really know where it'll go. So specifically, like, funny moments, I guess would be like when we would disagree on camera, and sometimes you cut, and other times you just leave it, and it'd just be like Sherlock and Sally trying to figure out where they're going, and Sally has her own idea, but then Sherlock's like, no, this is what we're doing. So I guess that was pretty funny.
I don't remember having like a specific end goal in mind always, but it would often come down to practicality. Like, I think in that particular scene you wanted to go look for the bad guy, and searching would require a number of locations, and so in an instant I'm thinking, how practical is this that we can actually film that? And it's not too practical, and so now I have to okay, we gotta reel it back, which obviously scripts are always going to be better, but that was early on when we didn't really know. I think Just Business 2 was the first one with a script. I don't really remember what was the first one for the script for you. I'd have to look that up. But on a related note, what?
I think Sherlock Holmes 3.
3?
I think.
Because that was the Bat. Maybe 4.
Oh, no, I think 4.
Yeah, 4 was the kidnapping of John, which was really quite an interesting series, and you can really see our phases over the years. Like Sherlock Holmes 7 was clearly our Force Awakens phase, because it was called Detectives Awaken, and it was focusing on the old guys handing the torch to the new guys, and then John dies pretty much the exact same way as Han. So
well, lightsaber too. So
yeah, well, it was called a Mark IV Sabertron.
Oh, okay.
I gotta get Justin on here. He needs to do his Maury voice again.
I know.
What's your favorite character that you've ever played? And or like Paradox, for example, you had 2 very different characters there. What was it like jumping back and forth? And is one of those characters your favorite character?
Like dropping back and forth between Mel and Rachel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one because both of them I liked. Once Rachel kind of converted to hip and, having her own ideas, how she kind of evolved over the two movies, that probably the Rachel that wore the black and was her own person kind of thing. That was my favorite Rachel, of course, but because that's more like me. But then Mel was also kind of the cool side, like villain that I always love to play. I don't get a lot of opportunities to play a villain, so I liked that. So it was long nights of filming, that's for sure. But I don't know if I could pick a favorite, like between the two of them. They're both kind of similar in their own little way, because, well, they're me, but just the characters themselves are kind of similar. But
There's also
yeah,
Sally and Jan Morrison as two other major characters.
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, I love Jan Morrison because she had swag, and again, that was a little thing that I just put into it. I think because we filmed it late, and I was going to go to bed soon, and so I had some sort of swag on, and then you decided to keep it, and then that became Jan Morrison. So I definitely liked her a little better than Sally.
There's a lot of viewers that don't really know how you playing Mel came to be and why you ended up having 160 lines. Why don't you remind the viewers how that ended up?
Yeah, a friend of mine she actually acted in TV and was on American Idol and like different things like that. So she was in that industry, but it had been a bit since she had done that. So she had a little bit of trouble memorizing the lines for Mel. So we filmed once with her, and then it just didn't work out. So then I had to fill that role she was supposed to fill. So that was kind of a last minute thing, but it turned out okay because it kind of stretched me and definitely was difficult in that one, even scene to scene, switching back and forth from Mel to Rachel and talking to nobody, and that was definitely a stretching moment, but it was a good one.
That's unfortunately been a staple of my movies where I film each person separately because that way I only have to have one person there at a time, because you never can tell if you're going to be able to get even two people there at the same time, which results in a lot of cutting, but that's why you want to get more people. But, it worked. I actually remember that we were not going to have Mel have anything on her face. In fact, you can see that in the very first trailer for Paradox 3, that was just the robe. But obviously, when we added you, we needed to hide it. And I was actually really surprised at the number of people that did not know it was you till the end. I think it really helped to have you spoken in English accent, and we did the voice filtering. So that really differentiated the characters. And that was also Justin's last role in a major film. So overall, I think Paradox was one of those greatest movies. And, now with the virus around and, I've been more busy in school, it's difficult to see where our next film will be, because I think one thing most people don't realize is location is the hardest thing of everything, which is one reason why we've had 4 movies at that one location, that one business location, because it's there, it's available, and it works. But, we're starting to really, tire out that place, and I think, even the 4th one was kind of pushing it. So heck, if we ever somehow did another Paradox movie, it wouldn't be there, because we need to find a new place. So, in fact, a lot of people don't know that there actually is a number of set websites you can go to. A lot of them are in LA, and you just pay them, and then you just do whatever you want in that area. So, but obviously it's not cheap. I think the cheapest one I saw was like $80 an hour, but then on the high end, we're looking at $400 an hour, which is obviously why films need budgets, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would ever want to spend a lot of money on a film that's not going to get me too much views. So it's definitely a process for sure, but hopefully we'll still be able to get you in those films once we make them. It's but obviously you've been a lot more busy lately. What else are we going to talk about? So I guess we could switch to like a lighter note. What you do in your fun time, movies, computer games, just to be able to relax after all this madness.
Do you have 2 hours? Well, music for starters. I play guitar and piano, and I sing, and I also play ukulele, but I usually hardly touch that because my favorite is probably piano. But I'm still in guitar lessons on Zoom, so I have to keep up with that weekly. So I definitely, that's usually the first thing I turn to is music. Then I'm still in rehearsals, though we don't meet, so I'm still working on the show. I have to go over vocal parts, I have to go over the dance routine, I have to go over the sign language. Of course, I do weekly tutorials. That parakeet is very happy.
Yeah, he likes to chirp on
weekly
purpose.
Tutorials with the cast for the sign language, so keep up with the translations so that if they have any questions, I know what they're talking about. I'm also in a weekly Bible study, so I have to keep up with that homework. And then, I stay in touch with my friends and contact them and call them. And yeah, it's really my whole thing. And then, of course, I have to do my best to stay active, so I'll go for a bike ride, or I'll run outside if all the neighbors don't decide to go in a cul-de-sac, something like that.
As you know, we both have played Half-Life and Portal 2 together. Those, I think, were some of the greatest games. What do you think about Half-Life, Alex, and its voyage to VR?
I think it's stupid. I don't think that we need any virtual reality any more than we have. I think we should stick to computer games because it's way more portable and convenient rather than VR.
All right, guys. Well, I'm about to reveal a never-before-seen secret. Rebekah is actually here. Can you believe it? All right. Well, I'm not. Yeah. So this is what happens when you have a really bad connection. But so yeah. So you like Portal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Portal 2 is great.
Yeah.
I love Portal 2 more than Portal 1.
She heard we had a bad connection, and so she just quickly drove down here. With these new electric cars, it's just it's incredible with the gas mileage and everything. Yeah. All right, well, that was interesting. Had a bit of interruptions there, but Rebekah, I want to thank you for coming all the way down here, coming on the show.
Coming all the way down.
We had a really good time, and tune in tomorrow as we interview Allison Weaver and her brand new podcast. We can't wait to talk to you all about that. So, thank you for tuning in to Live at Home with JRP. Rebekah, thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time.